It's time for Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. And now your host, J. Bryan Nugen, estate planning and elder law attorney.
Good morning, and welcome to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. I'm attorney J. Bryan Nugen, founder of Nugen Law, and your host for our program. The purpose of our show is to have weekly, in-depth conversations about matters relevant to folks as they walk down the path of successful aging. Our listeners will learn what it is to age with dignity and how best to protect their money. I've been practicing law for 3 decades. I'm licensed to practice in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida, and actively represent clients in all 4 states. My practice, the attorneys, and our interdisciplinary team of professionals who practice with me concentrate on working with clients in estate planning and elder law and areas related to them, such as protecting money from nursing home stays, securing benefits from programs like Medicaid and the VA, geriatric care coordination, estate and trust administration, guardianships, and planning for those with special needs. Nugen Law sees clients in many stages of life, but commonly we have folks reaching out when they or a loved one are showing signs of needing help. Those signs may include chronic ailment or progressive decline before, during, or after a hospitalization, an instance of incapacity. Caregiver burnout is very common. Stress on family members due to some or all of those instances I just mentioned. As a reminder, Nugen Law represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. If you hear something in today's broadcast which resonates with you, an area in which we may be able to help, please call Nugen Law at 260-925-3738, speak with one of our intake specialists, and schedule a meeting for either our Fort Wayne or Auburn locations. You're also encouraged to see us online at www.nugenlaw.com. For today's program, I wanted you to learn about how you can remain in your home as you age for as long as possible, if not indefinitely, with appropriate care. And if it no longer makes sense for someone to remain in their home, there is an alternative to a nursing home or a memory care unit stay. So years ago, I had a client who was experiencing increasing physical limitations. She was trying to find people to come to her home to provide care for her. She found private caregivers in the community. Unfortunately, the caregivers she found were taking advantage of her financially, had been drinking on the job, etc. So her physical limitations and lack of adequate care resulted in her being admitted to a nursing home for rehabilitation. And after that was finished, she needed to remain in the nursing home as she had no one at home to care for her. She had a child, but the child was living out of state. So my client reached out to me, desperate to return home. It broke my heart. I realized there was a real need for quality, vetted care providers. It was then, in 2011, can't believe it's been that long, that I have formed a company called TrueCare. TrueCare is a state of Indiana Department of Health licensed personal service agency. The agency was formed to provide non-medical care for folks like I just mentioned. So back in 2001, I thought I would have a small workforce of able-bodied care providers for a few seniors needing help to stay in their own homes. Well, let me tell you, I completely underestimated the demand for quality care. Since 2011, we have provided care for hundreds, if not thousands, of clients and have employed dozens of caregivers for residents of Allen, DeKalb, LaGrange, Steuben, Whitley counties. My guest for today is Mrs. Patty McGill. Patty is the Manager Director of TrueCare Seniors and TrueCare Homes. So we haven't talked about those yet, but those are homes for residents that typically have some level of a cognitive impairment like a dementia, in which no more than 4 residents live with on-site caregiver attendant care 24 hours a day. So Patty, please welcome. What professional background do you bring to TrueCare?
Good morning, Brian. I bring background. I had some medical background years ago. I worked in a hospital, went to nursing school, did not take my boards, decided to stay where I was in the hospital. I had a whim one day, moved to Indiana.
Okay.
So in Indiana, I had a bed and breakfast, which is what started my career in assisted living. I got hired as a business office manager in an assisted living community, I think only because the executive director there knew I could cook if somebody didn't show up. So that's pretty much how it got started.
But it's blossomed from there.
It has, and I've loved it. So I was in Las Vegas, got my license, became an administrator there. Then I moved back to Indiana, where I managed assisted living and memory care here until I came to TrueCare.
So what was the motivator for you to make the change from a traditional institutional setting for caring for seniors as they age to TrueCare? What was the motivator there?
So the motivator was, number one, staffing at the time. That was during COVID. So staffing at the time was very, very difficult. And I just got really burnt out. I decided not to go back to assisted living or even look for another assisted living position because it was one of those things. Home was always the biggest competitor.
Right.
So I saw a great opportunity with TrueCare and with you, Bryan, and took it and have loved it ever since I made that move.
And I have sincerely appreciated you being part of the team as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I trust the work that you do for our clients, and I know that you have their best interest at heart. And I've seen the company grow under your care, and the quality of care that we have continues to provide excellent day-to-day care for our clients in their homes. So I do appreciate your being part of the team, sincerely.
Thank you.
What types of services do your caregivers or attendants with TrueCare seniors provide to their clients?
So if we're going to someone's home, what we provide is anything from housekeeping, laundry, bed making. We assist with showers, meals. We can cook meals for them. We can actually help feed them. We assist them in getting dressed. We do nail care. One of our ladies yesterday was going to a graduation, so her caregiver did her hair, put makeup on her, had her all dressed up, sent me a picture last night.
Aww.
It was so sweet. So that's what we do. So this lady was very, very prideful. She looked beautiful. She was really happy to see her family all gussied up, right?
Nice. When you say home, we provide care for them in their home.
In their home.
Define home. What does that mean?
So home could be a house that they've owned for 70 years. It could be an apartment. It could be a guest house attached to someone else's house. It could be an independent living apartment community.
So we're meeting them where they are.
Where they are.
In fact, we've not recently, in the past, we've also been retained to provide services in nursing homes. So the nursing home, like you mentioned before, institutions are understaffed. And so they needed more care for their loved one than the facility was able to provide. We've been brought in to give care in the nursing home.
Sure.
And frankly, I think it's appreciated because
Absolutely. When you have 60 or 70 people that you're trying to provide good care for and you can't, then that's where places like TrueCare really do come in and provide a great benefit because you know that person from the agency is with that resident only, so they have a good one-on-one care.
So when you use the phrase agency, right, that's something we use because we're in the biz.
Right.
But agency is a licensed entity through the state of Indiana Department of Health, in this instance, a personal service agency. So the caregivers go through training that's established by each of the agencies that are licensed in the state. The agencies are insured. Their staff, we have workman's comp in place. We have insurance in place. We have a benefit program in place for our employees, our caregivers, versus hiring somebody individually, right? I find a neighbor that wants to do this,
right.
Or somebody down the street that says, I've done that before, I'll help you out. So if something goes awry, no insurance is in place.
No insurance. There's no background check. There's no drug testing done. A lot of times when we are in someone's home or even one of our care homes, we have medications that we have to keep account of, controlled meds. So you don't want somebody in your home that doesn't have any training on that. You want to make sure that they don't have any dependencies. You want them trained. there's special training to help someone get up out of a chair, to help them get out of bed. You have to be trained how to give somebody a shower.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to have injuries. So if you have somebody who is not insured and an agency that's not licensed, or, the neighbor, when there's an accident, I'm not sure. I would assume it would go on the homeowner's insurance, right? Yeah.
So you should know, listeners, that Nugen Law will be presenting a free seminar on August 15th between 1 and 5 p.m. in Fort Wayne with a deeper dive into how you can be sure to preserve your dignity and protect your money, with topics like asset preservation, securing benefits to provide payment for your care as you age, care management as you age, estate planning, and elder law. Please give us a call, 260-925-3738, 925-3738 to reserve your spot. Next, if you would like to discuss using TrueCare for yourself or a loved one, please give them a call at 260-333-6440. You may also see them online at www.true.care. That's www.true.care. Patty, what I've learned as an elder law attorney is that as my clients age and their needs change over time, they're afraid to let their family and loved ones know they may need a little help.
Yes.
They fear that if I ask for help, it means I need to leave my house. It seems to me that TrueCare seniors, you're trying to keep them in their homes, so they shouldn't be afraid to ask for some help. Have you had that same experience? Have you heard those same concerns?
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Nobody wants to lose their independence. If they ask for help, then they are admitting that they're getting older, and nobody wants to admit they're getting older either. Mm-hmm. They sometimes will withdraw and distance themselves from the family so they don't see changes. That's a very dangerous place to be because something's going to happen.
Sure.
So, there's a thing about waiting too long for the help, too. The longer you wait, the more help that they're going to require. So if you start seeing little signs, get the help when it's first noticeable, and maybe you can preserve their independence right. longer.
Well, and let's not forget, it isn't that you go from 0 to 100. I don't need any care till I need 24-hour day care. I like to see folks getting care, maybe a couple of hours a day, and then if their needs increase, maybe we go to 4 hours a day, or 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, to make sure that the person has been bathed and we have a meal prepared. And over time, as their demand for care increases, they increase their care with TrueCare. I'd much rather see that.
Absolutely. And that's where the aging in place comes from.
Yeah.
So as they age, they're going to stay in the same place, which is hopefully their home during their aging process, so they can stay as long as it's possible.
Sure. As a manager of TrueCare, how do you first become aware that someone may need some help? Is it typically the client reaching out, a spouse reaching out, a child's reaching out, or there isn't somebody in particular that does that?
So all of those will reach out. However, typically it's a child, or sometimes a neighbor. Mm-hmm. So they'll call into the office. We have a conversation, go over all of the services that we provide. Then I set up time to do an assessment. I assess that specific person, assess their house. I like to look for safety enhancements, being grab bars. I like to make sure there's not a lot of rugs laying around. Sometimes any rugs, depending on where they're at. They're very dangerous. There's the stacks of newspapers on the floor. Sometimes extension cords or just shoes laying around. All of those are trip and fall hazards.
Right. So once they reach out, once you're contacted and you're identified, or somebody's identified as needing help, or it's appropriate for you to schedule a time to visit with them, what happens next?
So we do the assessment and a care plan. Mm-hmm. The care plan it's the assessment actually, but it lists everything that we're going to be doing for that client. So it may say, do laundry once a week. I always add in there, or more if needed, right? Because they may only need laundry once a week for a while, but sometimes it may catch up, build up. So the caregivers are all instructed that they can do it every day if they need to do it every day. Typically, showers are 2 to 3 a week. If, Grandma doesn't want her shower on Tuesday, then we go on Wednesday. We try to get her to get a shower. So everything is very flexible. The caregivers have that care plan on the app on their cell phones, so they know when they go into someone's house what they're supposed to be doing.
So you mentioned an application
Yes.
on their smartphone. How do the attendants track the care that they've done, so you know that's taking place?
So they check off their tasks as they're done on the app on their phone. We get a copy of that, so I can pull that up at any time and look at it and see that the tasks have been done. One of the things that we've been focused on lately is not being so task-oriented, but to pay more attention to the person. Again, meet them where they are. If they're having a tough day, instead of running the vacuum cleaner and staying busy, sit down and visit. Watch a movie, go for a walk, do her hair, something that's going to make her feel good for the day.
Sure. Maybe play a game of euchre.
Yeah, euchre. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you better believe it. Does the care plan, is it stagnant, meaning once we've established it's the same care plan forever?
No, not at all. It changes. As the needs of the client change, we change the care plan. I do reassessments. So when I get a call saying, someone seems to be declining and maybe needs some more help, then I'll go do a reassessment, always have the conversation with the family, explain all of that, and then we adjust the care plan. So we might increase hours, increase days of the week, sometimes just add a task that we hadn't been doing before.
Mm-hmm. How often, you talked about the clients, the care that's being provided by the attendant being tracked by the attendant in the app, but TrueCare also does surprise drop-ins.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do. We have a field support staff that does drop-ins based on it's usually per area. So we may send her out to Steuben County for a day, and she'll drop in at our clients when one of our caregivers is in the home, just to make sure that stuff is getting done and the tasks are being done, checked off, that the client's happy, that the staff member's happy. Also, we check to make sure they have their uniforms on, that kind of stuff, because that is what we do.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's not that we're looking for something that's bad. Actually,
No.
on the contrary.
I want to see good stuff. I want to
Yeah.
see nice things.
Yeah.
So when Janice drops in at someone's house and finds something really nice, we want to know about it, and we give a shout out to that employee.
Yeah, we recognize them for that. That's great. To our listeners, if you'd like to speak with Patty at TrueCare about receiving services for you or someone you love or care for, she may be reached at 260-333-6440, 260-333-6440. Also, if you'd like to meet with someone at Nugen Law, our phone number is 260-925-3738. You'll speak with one of our intake specialists, and we'll set a time for you at either our Fort Wayne or our Auburn locations. You also should know that Nugen Law will be presenting a free seminar on August 15th between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. in Fort Wayne, with a deeper dive into how you can be sure to preserve your dignity and protect your money, with topics like asset preservation, securing benefits to provide payment for you, your care as you age, care management, estate planning, elder law, etc. So if you'd like a spot there in one of our seats, please give us a call, 260-925-3738. I can tell you that TrueCare will be there. They'll have a booth there along with other vendors, so you'd be able to meet Patty directly and other members of the TrueCare team. Patty, if it no longer makes sense for a client to be receiving care in their home, they now need 24-hour-a-day care. Not that you can't provide care in the home 24 hours a day. You can. It just becomes very, very expensive. Is this where TrueCare Homes becomes a viable option for your clients?
Absolutely.
So what are TrueCare Homes?
We have 2 homes in Auburn. Both are 4-bedroom, 2-bath homes. They both have the capacity of having 4 residents living there. They live there 24 hours. It's staffed 24 hours a day. And it's not the same person for 24 hours. We have 3 shifts. Mm-hmm. Nobody sleeps. They're always awake, taking care of the residents. So in the homes, we do all the cooking, the cleaning. We do activities in the homes. We have visitors that come. The residents can go out to lunch. they can come and go as they please.
Can you relate to our listeners maybe a real-life example of what you've seen when somebody comes into the care home, they were struggling at home, and they come in, and now they have, no less than 3 appropriate meals a day and one-on-one care throughout the course of the day, activities in the care homes, etc. What are you seeing?
So all of those things, all of the people that move into the care homes have the same story, right? They resisted, and now they can't resist anymore. Yeah. They need the help. So, right now we have a gentleman who came for a week. Yeah. He's decided now he's going to stay an extra month. Yeah. And when I saw him last night, he told me that he belongs there and he's probably going to have to stay. And I know, and he's touching. Loving it. So I met him a year ago. And he refused home care, although his friends kept telling him he needs it. Yeah. He ended up in our care home when he had an injury. Yeah. So he'll probably be staying with us. But now he knows that it's a nice place, and he keeps saying, this is really nice. When I went in this morning, he said, I had a great breakfast today. So every day he comments on the food. He's very happy.
Yeah, that's nice. And just this week, we got a beautiful thank you
Beautiful
note.
Letter.
Yeah, from one of our family members who had their loved one had passed in our home. We brought hospice in, and hospice was there with them to the end of their life. But what a beautiful note we got from the family, recognizing, frankly, Patty, how attentive you were to them and how you were immediately available to them and guided them through the entire process of moving in, and what it was like to work with hospice, and allowed our staff to provide care for their loved one. So it's a beautiful testament to what you do and the care providers at TrueCare do.
Well, and Bryan, I'm seeing each time we have a hospice client. So, and that one came from hospice. That one was referred by hospice and by a private physician. So they knew that she was going to be passing soon. But that's something that we do very well. We work so well with the hospice team and the family. The family's allowed to stay 24 hours if they want to. Yep. And the important thing about that is, so this one was actually, she had a daughter, and the daughter was able to be the daughter and not the caregiver. Right. So she was able to visit with her family. She was able to visit with her mom. She wasn't the one that was providing the care, which can be very exhausting when it's somebody who's bedbound. So it was a beautiful experience.
Well, thank you to you and to our staff. Yeah, it's TrueCare does good work, and I'm proud of what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where the job satisfaction comes from, right? Is when you know that you've done a good job, when you can be so proud of your team for the job they did. It's beautiful.
For sure.
It really is a nice thing.
So let's talk about your team. Do you have openings? Do you have are you always looking for qualified care providers?
Always.
And so if a listener is thinking, I'd like to think I have a caregiver's heart. I truly enjoy caring for other people, but I have not done that before. So I'm not going to apply for a position with TrueCare because I've not done this before. Should that alone be holding them back?
Oh, absolutely not. We have clients from being companion only.
Yes.
Where we stay with them while the son or the daughter is working. That is very light housekeeping. That is somebody that we employ just to stay there so the person doesn't wander out of the house or maybe catch something on fire. And then we have clients, in-home clients, that require more services. So we can use anybody that has any life experience, right? So everybody knows how to clean. Although we do trainings on that. Sure. We do trainings on that because we've learned that not everybody cleans the same way we do. Yep. So we've done that. We train. As long as you have the spirit and the heart and the passion to take care of especially older people, we will hire you and train you.
I'll tell you, I think some of our best caregivers have been people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even into their 80s. It really is a mature person that has a caregiver's heart.
Absolutely.
That derives pleasure from providing care for other people and seeing it's a direct result of the hands-on care you're giving. It's the worst job in the world if you're getting a job for a paycheck.
Right.
It is the best job in the world if you are really have that caregiver's heart and a nurturing spirit.
Well, and you have to want the job satisfaction, but that's something that you work for, right? You don't just get it because you show up.
Sure.
You are in charge of your own job satisfaction. So the better job you do, the happier you are when you go home at night.
And I think that what's unique in this type of a setting, being a caregiver at TrueCare, is that you are provided the training, you have access 24 hours a day, depending upon what shift you're working, to somebody that's on call that can give you some guidance. But you have a level of independence as well. It's like your own little business. You're going to the individual's home. You're providing care for them in the home. Of course, there's a care plan that you have to follow. You have to make sure that you're ticking those boxes. But you are in charge of your own day, and you don't have somebody breathing over your shoulder all day long. And so that's why it's so important for the caregivers that are employed by TrueCare to be mature and appreciate the responsibility that they have in providing care for the TrueCare clients. And let's face it, guys, this caregiver may be the only person that client sees for a week. So you are their sunshine.
Yes.
You are the brightness of their day and for their week. And don't think they aren't looking forward to that caregiver coming. They most certainly are.
They are, and if the caregiver is 2 minutes late, they'll call.
Yes.
Because they're looking forward to that visit. So, they want that social interaction. They want a nice meal prepared for them. Maybe they can't see, and they want you to read the daily paper to them.
Right.
So there's so much that they look forward to.
I think sometimes I've seen it too, where the client has established such a nice bond with the caregiver that frankly they don't want the caregiver to do their tasks.
Correct.
They want the caregiver sit down and talk to me. Sit down and visit. Let's visit.
And sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I do think too in the care homes that once the clients are there and the extended family members are coming in, it becomes an extended family.
Yes, it does.
The residents of the care homes,
yes, it does.
Their family members, the TrueCare staff members that are there, it becomes a very healthy relationship. I know in the past we've had, every Friday a different family member would bring in a treat for the staff and for the caregivers and those that are visiting. And my gosh, we've had Christmases at the care homes. We've had Thanksgivings at the care homes. We've had Easters at the care homes. It's easier for the extended family members to come into the facility, the care homes themselves, than to take that resident back home for a day.
Well, sometimes when those residents are used to seeing each other every day and talking to them, they may not want one of the others to leave for the day, to go for the holiday. They feel like they should spend it together.
Yeah.
So
it really the care homes, much like TrueCare itself, it started from there's a need, you identify a need. Gosh, we've been caring for this person in their private home for such a long time, and now they're having to leave because they can't be at home 24 hours a day. They couldn't afford the care at 24 hours a day. So the TrueCare homes were a great solution to somebody that isn't right for the nursing home, isn't right for the memory care unit.
Yes.
How can we help them out there? So as a reminder, TrueCare works with clients in Allen, DeKalb, Noble, Steuben, LaGrange counties. Please give them a call at 260-333-6440 or reach out online at www.true.care. www.true.care. Nugen Law also represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. So please call us, 260-925-3738. Speak with one of our intake specialists and schedule a meeting for either our Fort Wayne or our Auburn locations. You can also send us an email to help@nugenlaw, nugenlaw.com. I also hope you'll give us a call to attend our seminar on August 15th between 1 and 5 p.m. Give us a call at 260-925-3738 to reserve your spot. Patty McGill with TrueCare, thanks so much for being on today.
Thank you, Brian.
My pleasure. Nugen Law team looks forward to meeting you at your appointment with us and to speaking with you, our listeners, next weekend here Saturday at 9 a.m.
You've been listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. For more information, log on to NugenLaw.com or email help@NugenLaw.com. Nothing stated in today's program should be considered as legal advice, should not be considered as having created an attorney-client relationship between show host and guests and any listener. Nugen Law is not liable for anything that happens as a result of a listener relying on provided information as legal advice. The content is for informational purposes only.
Podcasts by Federated Media.